You know the feeling. We've all been there. A conversation takes a wrong turn, voices get a little louder, and all of a sudden you feel this huge distance between you and someone you really care about. The thing is, conflict is a totally normal part of life. But the good news? So is repair. So that's what we're going to dive into, a really powerful framework for how to untangle the issues, reconnect, and actually make your bond even stronger.
It's a wild experience, isn't it? One minute you're just talking about, I don't know, who's taking out the trash, and the next, it feels like the whole relationship is about to just crumble. How does something so small get so big so fast?
Well, a big reason it hurts so much is that it stops feeling like it's about the trash. It starts to feel like an attack on the relationship itself, like right on the very heart of your connection. That's the moment when the trust gets shaky and that bond just feels like it's stretching to its breaking point.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at why fights feel like this attack on the relationship's heart. Then, we'll walk through a really practical three-step repair process, separating the issues, reviving the connection, and then digging a little deeper. And we'll wrap up by looking at how all this helps us build stronger, more resilient bonds for the long run.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty big mindset shift. We're not just trying to stop a fight, we're learning how to become relationship conservationists, actively protecting the connection when it's feeling threatened.
But, before we can jump into the fix, we really have to understand the problem. What is actually going on in our brains and our bodies that makes these moments feel so awful? Okay, so there's this really important distinction that researchers talk about. You've got your task conflict, that's about the what or the how, like the dishes. But that can so easily slide into a relationship conflict, which is about the who. Suddenly, it's not about a chore anymore. It's about feeling disrespected or unappreciated, and that's where the real pain comes from.
And get this, there's something physical happening inside our bodies too. When we feel attacked, our system flips into fight or flight mode. It's called emotional flooding. Your heart rate shoots up, stress hormones are coursing through your veins, and the rational problem-solving part of your brain, it literally goes offline. In that moment, having a calm, constructive conversation is biologically impossible. So, knowing our brains are basically short-circuiting, how in the world do we start to fix things? Well, it all begins with this crucial first step, learning to separate the issue from the person.
Okay, so here's the whole three-step framework we're going to be using. And that first step, separating the relationship from the conflict, it's everything. It's the foundation. You have to be able to draw a bright, clear line between the problem you're discussing and the person you love.
And you know what? It can sound this simple. Saying something just like this out loud does two incredible things at once. It tells the other person, hey, you are not the enemy here, and it also reminds you to stay focused on the task, not the person.
All right, once you've made that separation, it's time for step 2, reviving the connection. Now, this next step might feel a little backward. Our instinct is to just solve the problem, right? But trying to solve a problem when the connection is broken is like trying to perform surgery in the dark. It just doesn't work.
All right, back to our roadmap here. We've built that foundation in step 1, and now we're on to step 2, resuscitating the relationship. This is all about pumping some warmth, some safety, some positivity back into the space before you even try to find a solution.
And the key tool for this, it comes from the legendary researcher John Gottman. He calls it a repair attempt. And it's basically any little thing you say or do, a gentle touch, a silly joke, a soft tone of voice that stops the negativity from spiraling and sends the message, hey, remember us? We're on the same team.
And notice what's happening here. A good repair attempt doesn't have to solve anything. Its only job is to get the heart of the relationship beating again. Saying something that shows gratitude, right in the middle of a tense moment, can totally shift the energy and make a real solution possible.
In fact, Gottman's research found something amazing. He called it the magic ratio. Turns out, the most successful relationships have at least 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. That 5-to-1 balance creates this huge emotional cushion. And repair attempts, they're how you make deposits into that account, even when things are tough.
Okay, so you've separated the person from the problem. You've brought the connection back to life. Now, and only now, are you ready for the final, most important step, getting to the root of it all and figuring out what the fight is really about.
So here's our framework one last time. We laid the groundwork with those first 2 steps, and now we arrive at step 3. This is where the real magic happens, because, let's be honest, fights are rarely about the thing we're fighting about. They're almost always a signal of some deeper, unmet need.
This example just nails it.
A fight about money is probably not just about dollars and cents. It's often about a much deeper need for security or stability. When you can stop arguing about the budget line items and start asking about the underlying feeling, that's when you get to the true heart of the issue.
So when you put these 3 steps together, you're not just putting out a fire. You're actually building a new skill. You're transforming your relationship from something that feels fragile in a conflict to something that's genuinely resilient. So let's pack a little toolkit you can take with you. First, if you feel that emotional flooding happening, just press pause. Seriously, take 20-30 minutes. Let your body calm down. Second, when you do come back to talk, aim to make amends, not just say a quick sorry. And finally, try to avoid kitchen sinking. You know where you throw every single past problem into the argument? Stick to one topic at a time.
Now, it is really, really important to say that these tools are for navigating the normal ups and downs of a relationship. They are not for enduring abuse. If you are dealing with repeated boundary violations, abusive patterns, or just disagreements that feel completely stuck, reaching out for professional support is absolutely a sign of strength.
And here's why this is so much bigger than just your personal relationships. This ability to move from a fight to a collaboration, it's a superpower. The skills you use to repair a disagreement at home are the exact same ones that lead to huge success at work. In fact, studies show teams that are good at this don't just feel better, they literally make smarter, more effective decisions. So I want to leave you with this one big idea. We're so used to seeing conflict as a threat, something to shut down or run away from. But what if we started to see it as an opportunity? An invitation to separate the problem from the person, to revive the connection, and to discover a deeper need. Because if you can do that, your next fight might just be the greatest chance you have to build a bond that's stronger than ever before.